Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devi Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayamdiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Shloka number 12. Bhavita Vishruta Putro Navamo Brahmano Gunahi Yayetam Atma Viryena Trilokim Purayishyati. Bhavita Vishruta Putro Navamo Brahmano Gunahi Yayetam Atma Viryena Trilokim Purayishyati. Bhavita Vishruta Putro Navamo Brahmano Gunahi Yayetam Atma Viryena Trilokim Purayishyati. Bhavita Vishruta Putro Navamo Brahmano Gunahi Yayetam Atma Viryena Trilokim Purayishyati.
Bhavita Vishrutah Putro
Bhavita Vishruta Putro
Navamo Brahmano Gunaihi
Namo Brahmano Gunahi
Yaetam Atma Vidyena
Yayetam Atma Viryena
Trilokim Purayishyati.
Trilokim Purayishyati. Bhavita Vishruta Putro Namo Brahmano Gunahi Yayetam Atma Viryena Trilokim Purayishyati. Okay. Bhavita, there will be. Vishrutaha, very famous. Putraha, son. Anavamaha, not inferior. Brahmanaha, to Lord Brahma. Gunahi, by qualifications. Yaha, who. Etam, all this. Atmaviryena, by his progeny. Trilokim, the three worlds. Purayishyati, will fill. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: you will have a nice son who will be in no way inferior to Lord Brahma. Consequently, he will be very famous all over the universe, and the sons and grandsons generated by him will fill the three worlds. Purport: as explained in the next verse, the Prachatas will marry the daughter of the great sage Kandu. It is suggested that the son's name will be Vishruta, and that he will glorify both his father and mother because of his good character. In fact, he would be greater than Lord Brahma. The great politician Chanakya said that if there is a good tree within a garden or forest, its flowers will fill the forest with its fragrance. Similarly, a good son within a family makes the whole family famous all over the world. Krishna took birth in the family of Yadus, and consequently, the Yadu dynasty is famous all over the world. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavanda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this shloka, it talks about foretelling of a good son that will be born of the Prachetas. So, one thing we see that these Prachetas, they are sons of Prachini Barhi. And the situation at that point in time is of filling the universe with the population. And no, they were not in, that's a very big need that is there. And they were not in urgency. So they were, it's a big need, but then they were taking quite good amount of time. So what is the time, what is that they were doing? So they were doing tapasya. So at every procreation we can actually see, or every Prajapati like trying to expand the population, we can see that they beget few children, and then they ask them to do tapasya. And after they do their tapasya and they situate themselves in a very good consciousness, so then they are asked to procreate further. And then they also do the very same thing. So it is a very important thing to understand. Even Brahma had a very, very important task, like very great task of creating the whole universe. And like, what is that first thing? Like, generally, what is that, in development of any product and things like that. So people before had this one, so they would spend a lot of time and then do all analysis and things like that, design and stuff like that, and then they would start the project with a solid plan. So nowadays it has become agile. So like you start first and then like make some modification, and if there is some mistake is there, like we will correct on the go. So like this is Kali Yuga symptom actually. So that's also a good model. Very apt for the people, the generation now. So but in the past it has always been preparation, a good amount of preparation, and they had a solid understanding that if we produce something in mode of goodness, so then that will be, the product will be good, the output will be good. So in that way, like they were preparing their consciousness a lot before they get into the task of procreation. Now you see, like King Prachina Barhi, he got 10 sons and he sent them for tapasya, and like thousands of years they are doing tapasya, and like if he's a modern taskmaster, you would say like, Arey, project is to fill the universe with population, and 10 sons I have begot, and they are doing thousands of years tapasya. Like, where is the output? Where is the world is still vacant. The world is still not filled with population, right? So, but that is not the way. So they were trying to create a good progeny, good population, and we also see that in the process, sometimes there is creation of bad population also. That Nishad, gets created, in the just before Prithu Maharaj, this one, Vena and Prithu Maharaj ka, this one. So then they are also given some space. Eventually, like in the process of creation, some bad creation also will happen, and they were given some space because ultimately this world is meant for like people who are bad. For them to exist, this world is created. So yesterday we were having some discussion that why Krishna is allowing all these bad people to exist. So then, no, like for them only this world is created. If they cannot exist here also, then where they will exist? They have to exist somewhere. So, but why so much care is taken to create some good progeny then? So, if the good progeny is created, for that it takes a lot of time, lot of meditation, and lot of preparation. We have to create both the parties, the husband and wife, should come in the mode of goodness before they procreate. So that is when they can attract a soul which is in mode of goodness. So it takes a lot of struggle. So, but then just to create somebody, like so many souls are waiting actually. So these bad souls can be easily attracted, and they are more in number also. So like they can easily be produced. So this is one phenomena that we can actually see, that to create something nice, to create something wonderful, it always takes time. And to just do something haphazardly, it is very quickly we can actually do. So it is like even in Krishna consciousness. So when we are trying for output, if we can do some quality work, quality, this one of training people into Krishna consciousness, and then really making them devotees of Krishna, and really making them live by the principles of Krishna consciousness. So that will make a tremendous effect over a period of time, right? So this kind of creation is appreciated in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we see that as explained in the next verse, the Prachatas marry the daughter of sage Kandu, and it is suggested that the son's name will be Vishruta. So now again production, you see like 10 people and they are producing one person output. So like it is considered very glorious, because this one person is going to create really very amazing output. So in case of Srila Prabhupada also, it is such great personalities like they came about, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and all these great personalities came about, and they all together produced one output, that is Prabhupada. And he could able to create revolution within the whole whole world. So it doesn't matter the quantity of output, it matters the quality. So one quality output like Srila Prabhupada, he could able to do revolution throughout the world. So here also we see that this is one son that is begotten by the 10 of these Prachatas, and he is going to do really wonderful act. So, and he will glorify both his father and mother because of his good character. In fact, he would be greater than Lord Brahma. So, like this is the qualifications of the good progeny is always foretold. So this we see in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. So when he was about to take birth, so then Yudhishthir Maharaj employs some astrologers, and then he asked them like what kind of progeny will come, what kind of child will come in our family, and then they glorify so many things, that he would have some good character and like all this good values and principles and things like that. So then Yudhishthir Maharaj is very happy. So they are not very happy just by like somebody who would rule over the world very powerfully. So even Ravana also ruled over, and Hiranyakashipu also ruled over. So that's not very great. So these great personalities, so they liked to have somebody who is very glorious, in terms of following the principles, in terms of being a devotee of the Lord. So if that is there, so they would consider that, okay, like the future is safe. And then like after that, like Yudhishthir Maharaj was very happy also to retire and go and things like that. So because he that like the son who's born, or the it is in safe hands, the whole generation is in safe hands, right? So that is their main thing. And now the next thing is, the great politician Chanakya said that if there is a good tree within a garden or forest, its flowers will fill the forest with their fragrance. So this is something that a nice portion which is there in the 7th canto. And Prabhupada also gives the example of the Yadu dynasty, so where Krishna appears, there wonderful, the whole dynasty becomes glorified. So sometimes Prabhupada gives this example of Malai Chandan. So it is not, the Malayan hills is not famous in themselves. The Chandan happened to appear there, and because of that, that became famous. So in the same way, Krishna chose to appear in a particular dynasty, and then he becomes, the whole dynasty becomes glorious. So here, there is a nice description in the 7th canto, there is a talk between both this one, Prahlad, and this one, the teachers. Let's see. Chanda Namarka. So Prahlad and the teachers. So Prahlad has just spoken pure Krishna conscious principles in front of Hiranyakashipu. And then Hiranyakashipu is this is the first time, so he is okay. Kuch to gadbad ho gaya, so teach him properly and bring him back. So that time, so the teachers have a nice discussion with Prahlad. So they say, "Dear son Prahlad, all peace and good fortune unto you. Kindly do not speak lies. Just reply with truth. These boys you see are not like you, for they do not speak in a deviant way. How have you learned these instructions? How has your intelligence been spoiled in this way?" Right? And then they say, "Oh, best of your family, has this pollution of your intelligence been brought about by you or by your enemies, or by the enemies? We are all teachers and are very eager to hear about this. Please tell the truth. Tell us the truth." And Prahlad Maharaj is replying, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances and to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by deluding the intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources." So, this is one thing, one quality that has been glorified of Sri Prahlad Maharaj, that he was always having this difficulty in his accepting the teachings that is given. So why? Because he was not able to see somebody as friend and somebody as enemy. And they are always talking about friend and enemy. So whole politics revolves around how to favor somebody who is favorable to us, and how to punish or get rid of things get rid of people who are enemies, right? So, and Prahlad Maharaj is not able to handle that particular instruction. And here also you see did enemy teach you? He's like, no, who's enemy? No, everybody are, no, Krishna we are all part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is our dear friend. And which part and parcel of our dear friend will be an enemy? Everything is like friend only. So he is not able to see that, somebody as enemy. So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a Pandita and does not make distinctions between enemy, friend and himself. Intelligently, he then thinks every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another. Right? So this is a very important, this one. So when does a person become Pandita? So it is, when does a person become learned? So it is not mentioned that if a person learns a lot of scriptures and understands all the concepts and things like that, he'll become a Pandita. It is not like that. So it is when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service. So one becomes a Pandita. So we were studying in the Harinam Chintamani sessions in the last few days. So how, when we perform some devotional service, and if we can please Guru and Krishna, and so by the pleasure of by the way of pleasing the entities which are dear to Krishna, so Krishna becomes favorably disposed, and Krishna removes the curtain of illusion. And when he removes the curtain of illusion, we become Pandita, we become knowledgeable. And the moment we offend any of the dear entities of Krishna, immediately Krishna puts the curtain of illusion, and then we are no more Pandita, we are in ignorance, right? So, and the moment we I have heard from realizations of devotees, the devotees share that when they have a good rounds chanted in a particular day. Good rounds chanted means, so they were able to hear the names of the Lord clearly, and they could able to feel some kind of nourishment because of chanting. And on that day, everything seems to be okay. No, even somebody scolds us, no, some bad thing happens, good thing happens, everything seems to be okay. Because like no, ultimately everything is by the will of the Lord and I'm there in perfect hands. So they are able to see every act that is happening as sanction of the Lord, no, will of the Lord, and they are able to see every person, no, be it friend or enemy. So they are part and parcel of Krishna, and there is no fear from any source. So, but the days when the chanting is not going good, so that means Krishna has not shown his darshan to us, no. And how will we not have darshan of Krishna? So means like Krishna has put the veil of no, the curtain of ignorance in front of us, like so like he has pulled the curtain of Maya. So then it is difficult. Like Krishna is not visible. When Krishna is not visible, it's just like if this light, the sun is not there and no light we are actually putting, there is no electric light also we are like switching on. So then everything around will look dark, and like we will not be able to see things properly. But the moment the light comes, the moment sun arises, so we will see everything in proper perspective. So like it is not that I have to gaining knowledge means people think that okay, now I'll study about this particular thing and then I'll study about this, I'll study about this, and in this way I'll get a lot of knowledge. No, the important this one is like Bahunam Janvanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So coming to the point that studying about Vasudev or getting a darshan of Vasudev is what is real knowledge, because the moment I get that, immediately everything becomes illuminated. So Prabhupada writes a very amazing statement in Nectar of Devotion, I think in the preface. Krishna consciousness means to understand how to turn on that one switch which will make everything illuminated in all directions. Something like that, Prabhupada actually writes. So the knowledge means, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking a very amazing statement. I'll just read this again. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a Pandita and does not make distinctions between enemies, friends and himself. Intelligently, he then thinks every one of us is an eternal servant of God and therefore we are not different from one another. So we can actually match it with the definition of illusion. So like when Krishna gives the knowledge, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, he defines illusion. He says that if you are able to see something in this world and if you are not able to see its connection with me, so then you can understand, no, that is not Maya, you are in Maya. So that is perfectly situated. It is still my part and parcel. So, but you are not able to see it as my part and parcel. That means you are in Maya, right? So here we see that the moment ignorance comes, we see everything as subject matter to be enjoyed by us, and the moment we get knowledge, that means we are able to experience Krishna. So immediately we will see, okay, this is part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the enjoyer, and this should be offered for Krishna's enjoyment. So immediately that thought actually comes. So okay. So persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves, not to speak of them. Even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with Vedic literatures, are sometimes bewildered in following principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this situation has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. He should have so much guts in front of the teachers, who is having stick in the hand and he is speaking in this way, right? So you think that they are enemies, but no, they are not. Everything is perfectly under the Supreme Personality of God's creation. And one nice thing, why a devotee doesn't get, he has a different idea and the demons have a different idea. And why a devotee doesn't hate the demon? Because he thinks that because Krishna has enlightened me, so that is why I am able to see everything as part and parcel of Krishna. And it is not their fault. No, Krishna has that. It is what is it? They are also playthings in the hand of Krishna. So they desire to be in illusion, and Krishna has only put them in illusion. So when Krishna has put them in illusion, so why should I have enmity with them or have a difference of opinion? So it's okay. Krishna has put you in that situation, Krishna has put me in this situation. No, I appreciate your situation, you also appreciate my situation. So it is very very amazing, this one. So they don't feel too much irritated by that. So, O Brahmanas, as like, oh, this is like amazing shloka. Yata Brahmaya Tayo Brahman Swayam Akarsha Sannido Tata me Vidyate Chetas Chakrapane Redirchaya. So, he is telling that, O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron is attracted by magnet stone, as iron attracted by a magnet stone moves automatically towards the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand, thus I have no independence. So, this is how we see that no progress in Krishna consciousness or attraction in Krishna consciousness, so is not by one's own capacity, it's not by one's own power, it's simply by the capacity of attraction of Krishna. So, not being attracted is simply because of our anarthas, and being attracted is simply because of mercy of the Lord, right? So, and being removed from the anarthas is also simply because of the mercy of the Lord, right? So, it is the excelling in devotional service. So, always the credit should be given to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. So, two ways like the credit is given. So, one is that when a devotee sees himself, so he should always see that like Krishna is so merciful. Like if he's making advancement, if he is seeing some growth in Krishna consciousness, he should always give credit to Krishna and spiritual master, so that because of their mercy, I am able to make this strides of advancement, make this like quite good leaps of advancement. And when we see the same advancement in another devotee, so we glorify both Krishna and that devotee also. So why do we have to glorify that devotee? It is Krishna who is attracted, and Krishna has made this person great. So why should we glorify that devotee? Because this devotee has allowed Krishna to make him great. That is why you should glorify the devotee. So many people are holding on to their material attractions. No, they are not giving up their material attractions, and Krishna is not able to make them great. So, and this devotee, he has given up his material attraction, or he has desired to give up his material attraction, and because of which Krishna has occupied his heart and made him great, right? So, in that way, like we glorify the devotee, for his allowing Krishna to act upon him, right? So, and then the great sage Narad Muni continued. The great soul Prahlad Maharaj became silent after saying this to his teachers Shanda and Amarka, the seminal sons of Shukracharya. These so-called Brahmanas then became angry at him because they were servants of Hiranyakashipu. They were very sorry, and to chastise Prahlad Maharaj, they spoke as follows. Oh, please bring a stick. This Prahlad is damaging our name and fame. Because of his bad intelligence, he has become like a cinder in the dynasty of demons. Cinder means? Firewood. Okay. So now he needs to be treated by the fourth of the four kinds of political diplomacy. What is the four kinds of political diplomacy? Sam, Dam, Danda, Ved. So Sam means like pacifying, and then Dam means like giving money and purchasing and things like that. And then Danda is punishment, and Beda is like divide and rule. Things like, or Beda and finally Danda, I think. This is fourth of four kinds of diplomacy. It's like, Danda leke aake isko marne wala abhi. And then this rascal Prahlad has appeared like a thorn tree in the forest of sandalwood. To cut down the sandalwood tree, an axe is needed, and the wood of the thorn tree is very suitable for the handle of such an axe. Lord Vishnu is the axe for cutting down the sandalwood forest of the family of demons, and this Prahlad is the handle for that axe. So actually speaking, the Prahlad is the sandalwood in the midst of, thorny trees, and who is glorifying the whole dynasty of, the demons. And here, like everybody thinks that they are good. That's the most difficult problem in this material world. Nobody thinks that we are bad. And, so it is like every person has their opinion. And in Kali Yuga, at least like in the previous ages, people would consult. But in Kali Yuga, it is like, no, your opinion is very great. And social media is there where you can express your opinion. And people can like and dislike, but then your opinion is great. Like everybody has the right to have their opinion, and everybody's opinion is great for them, right? So it is very like unfortunate situation So, but here we see that this is the condition of the material world, that everybody feels that they are perfectly right. No, that is why there is quarrel. If everybody feels that Krishna is right and the scriptures are right, and we should check if our desires are in line with the scriptures. So, or if our desire, no, there can be many options. No, even amongst the scriptural conclusions. No, what is that shloka? Tarko apratishta shrutayo vibhinna. So even like a legal opinion about right from the scriptures can also be like multiple this one faceted. So or many different opinions can come. So that is why in always the this one is like surrendering to an authority is always very much glorified, because there is 3-4 opinions. And if there is a culture of surrendering to authority, the authority will decide one and everybody will follow. So like simple, the problem is solved. But in Kali Yuga, no, first of all, like they don't have scriptural reference. So like it's if you have the like a range of desires. So in that, like there is so much range of desires, and if at least if you accept the scriptures, that will reduce to some limit. So that is also not there. We will not accept the scriptures, and there is no authority also to anybody. So like no scriptures and no authority. It's like so much of permutation and combination, and everybody thinks I am perfectly right. And there is like obviously there is going to be quarrel. So everybody is going to say like I am right and I am right, and like everybody is going to fight. So that is why it is an age of quarrel and hypocrisy, right? So wherein like it is very difficult to resolve the problems of this world. If you want to resolve these problems, first of all, they should accept the authority of scriptures, and they should accept the principle of authority. At least like what is that? In a family setup. So in the past, like I've heard from many devotees also in their own families, how the grandfather is like the king. Even after the father like starts earning, and even after the father had his own children and things like that, and still if the grandfather says something in the home, that is like absolute. Nobody will go against it. It's such an amazing principle. Like very there would not be much heavy quarrels or heavy this ones and things like that, because there is one person who's moderating everything, right? So this natural this one has gone down. Why? Because now children says like, why don't you follow your father? Like, no, what great person he is. Like he does so much of nonsense, and the father has the same opinion of the son, and son also has the same opinion of the father, and both of them are not willing to surrender to anyone, right? So in that way, like it becomes very difficult. The overall quality of people have gone down, and people are like not able to get this particular thing. So anyways, this point about the forest becomes fragrant by one good sun. So even the forest is such a filthy forest, like this one, the family of demons. There is nothing glorious about that particular family. So in fact, Prahlad Maharaj says to the sons of the demons, you see like people who are too much addicted to women, money and things like that. So they are all materialists and they are all demons. And you're all sons of demons. Don't follow their words. And like, we always associate with devotees. And who are the devotees? He is the only devotee available. So in that way, like Prahlad Maharaj had a very difficult task to perform. And he's such a glorious person that in the family of demons, he's one devotee and he's spreading the glories so wonderfully. So at least in case of Krishna, like already favorable environment was there. All his parshads, he sent them before, and nice environment was there. Like when he was born, so his father and mother were devotees, and there were like many other devotees were there. So like this is understandable. So but the devotee of the Lord is even more glorious than the Lord. So like Prahlad Maharaj had such a situation that none of the people around are devotees, and still like he was like he made so much wonderful this one. So like always, the Lord makes his devotees more glorious than himself. He gives them more difficult situation, and then he makes them more glorious than himself. So in that way, like that is an amazing thing. So at a personal level, we can take another one nice lesson from this particular thing. That if we perform an act of devotional service, that can actually, we were discussing in the last few days. So an act of devotional service, just like meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, or trying to offer prayers to Krishna, saying that, how the mind is going wild, and know how I'm really troubled and I'm struggling in this particular situation. So please take charge of this mind, and then please you enter and you reside in this place. So when we offer such prayers, just that one act, like it makes a lot of difference in the devotees. This one. So in the same way, like if there is one act of material attachment or material attraction, so just like an act of no avaidik stri sangha, association with women, which is not according to the scriptures, just like having some phone calls with women and chit chatting and things like that and all. So even sometimes, like devotees also go through this, that marriage gets fixed and then they spend a lot of time in the phone call, speaking with this one, and they feel so much disturbed. So and like sometimes they come back and say like, no Prabhu, like this talking with women is like so disturbing. Like how will it happen in after marriage and things like that. See, whether inside marriage or outside marriage. So if we like associate with women in an inappropriate way, which is not according to the scriptures, it is going to be disturbing, right? So like still you are not married, just like it was just the match was fixed, and it is not appropriate for you to speak so long hours with your so-called would-be and things like that. So it is not the Vedic culture, and it's not according to the rules. So when you do that, so when you do anything which is like against the rules and regulations of the scriptures, it must be disturbing. It must create some disturbance in the system. So like it is very essential that we do one act of bad thing, so it can actually spoil your entire consciousness. It can disturb you completely. So the whole consciousness is the forest, and one act of improper act can actually spoil the whole consciousness. And one act of devotional service, which is very solidly meditated upon, and if it is like of very solid value, so that can actually bring about like a huge revolution in the consciousness. It can actually calm down the whole mind, and then it can actually put us on Krishna conscious thoughts. So it is very, very important that we work on the like not too many this ones. So one thing at a time, at least a solid remembrance of the Lord. The sadhana is all about like having solid remembrance of the Lord. So the quality of sadhana is depending upon the quality of remembrance of the Lord. So because forgetfulness of the Lord means Maya, and we are doing sadhana to remember the Lord. So we are doing chanting for remembering the Lord. We are studying scriptures for remembering the Lord. We are doing service so that Lord may be pleased and reveal Himself unto us. And this is the whole purpose. Like we want to go closer to Krishna, and we want to get other people also closer to Krishna. So in this way, like this solid service, which is or solid service in terms of chanting or reading or preaching or whatever it is. So if we can do it with this parameter of the quality of remembrance of the Lord, so if we can work on that and like make even one thing, even at least in a day, at least make one act, which is like resulting in a like solid meditation of the Lord. So that makes a lot of difference, right? So that will help us. That one act will help us, to set right a lot of things. Okay, so I'll just pause here. Any questions or comments you can take up. Hare Krishna.
Any questions? No questions. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So one question I wanted to ask regarding this thing you mentioned regarding not following the Vedic scriptures or Avedic things like Avedic Stri Sangha or those things. So the question I wanted to ask is, like, in general we see sometimes it happens that people follow the Vedic rules and regulations, especially in case of like marriages and these things, and still it fails or things like that. So is it always that Vedic thing should work, or like why does it happen that sometimes those things fail?
So divorce itself is Avedic, first of all. So it fails means like in Kali Yuga, like people don't follow the principles very solidly. So I didn't explain this point too much in the Harinam Chintamani because congregation were there. So it is mentioned that proper sangha of women means like the women should be submissive to the husband and husband should be a Vaishnava. So it is like there is one more line, I just deleted it. So any other association with women is called Avaidik Stri Sangha. So that is like a very heavy statement, Haridas Thakur makes. So like, I thought like congregation is not, they will not be able to take this statement. So I just removed that statement from there. So no, it is, if that is there, it is not that once you get married, like no, then you do anything and everything, it is like legal. No, it's not like that. So the wife should be submissive to the husband, and the husband should be a Vaishnava. Right? So then it will be peaceful. Otherwise, we cannot expect peace. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll have some reflections.
Hare Krishna. So initially the point that you made, the quality is more important than the quantity. So that is very nice. And we see in the Shastra, especially the current context, that the Prachetas, they worked, they did tapasya, and they begot one child. And then this particular shloka, it highlights that how this one particular child will be very glorious. So if we can just prepare our consciousness very nicely. So I was just thinking about preaching. If as a preacher, if I can prepare my consciousness nicely and then step out, then there'll be a lot of benefit which I can give to others. And they will get some, I'll be benefited firstly because I'll be engaged, and the next thing is they will be benefited because some good consciousness will be transferred. Or if my consciousness is not proper, it's not prepared well, then nothing will happen. They will not be benefited at all. And I'll also be frustrated. So investing a good time on preparing one's consciousness is something which I was meditating on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful lecture. So to create something nice, one needs a lot of time and patience. In case of Prachetas, Prachina Barhishat wanted nice progeny. So a lot of time, a lot of austerity, a lot of patience was needed. So Srila Prabhupada often quotes that dry fruit example in one of his calendar quotes, that you need to have a lot of time and you need to have a lot of patience. You need to continue doing the right thing, and then when the right time comes, the dry fruit will come, and then dry fruit is very valuable. So I was correlating this with Srila Prabhupada's preaching endeavors, how he actually went to a place where he had to be so patient, he had to literally teach each and everything to everybody, and it was a very uphill task. Now the whole world glorifies him, but he was working at the grassroots level initially. So, and he is the Jagat Guru also. So we can all learn from him that spiritual life means doing the right thing at the right time and being very patient and depending on Lord's mercy. If one sees all at the spiritual platform, that means he is a Pandit. And if one becomes a Pandit, that means they have the mercy of Krishna. And therefore, by the mercy of Krishna, the curtain of illusion has been removed. So that is a very nice point which you told. If one can meditate on this point, then when they see great things happening around them, they will become more humble and they will see the hand of the Lord. And therefore, a Pandit. So, another point which you said, a devotee does not hate demons because he sees the hand of Krishna in it. So this reminded me of the Jaladuta prayers, how Prabhupada is praying, that by your wish they have fallen into illusion, and if you may so desire, then they may be removed from illusion. So it is my desire that you please help them. So that is the consciousness of a devotee. So thank you for that point. And also a very nice point you made that that Prahlad Maharaj had a very difficult preaching situation. Next time when I find myself in some preaching situation, I'll compare myself to Prahlad and I'll get some hope. And my situation is not as bad. I'm not being thrown into a pit of snakes. And sadhana means quality remembrance of the Lord. Sadhana should not be mechanical, but should be fully based on quality. And when it is not going in quality, then we should pray to the Lord that my Lord, please take charge of my mind and my heart and reside there so that everything becomes good quality. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class today. There were a lot of points which I really liked. So you told about that people, especially in Kali Yuga, they are not following any scriptures. They don't have an authority, and everybody thinks that they are perfect, they are good, and because of that, that is the main cause that Kali Yuga is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And also the point that the anarthas, because they are present, uh, because we are not allowing Krishna to intervene. So you told a very wonderful point that we should glorify the devotee because they have allowed Krishna to actually intervene and in their desires, to remove all the material desires that they have. So uh, also because being attracted to Krishna is because of our anarthas, and removal of those anarthas and being attracted to Krishna is the mercy of Krishna himself. And quality of sadhana is actually proportional to our remembrance of Krishna. And every day we should have one act which can help us get some solid connection to Krishna. So yeah, these were the points. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the first point I can mention, like the quality, like we are doing some chant. It's not audible. Okay, we are doing some chantings and all. So the quality, how we will develop our qualities for doing that sadhanas. That is the main first points I can mention. That is, so we have to focus our sadhanas very well with qualities. And second point, like regarding to Pandita, like you told, like suppose in nowadays so many Panditas with there for their made up of some what you call some makeup in their modern civilizations. But we have to recognize who is actually a Pandita in this. Yes, that is. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So here you told that some people are very inquisitive. They keep searching for knowledge. So they think, I will read this book, then I will get some knowledge. Then I will read some other book, I will get some more knowledge, like that. They keep searching for knowledge. But Prabhupada explained that if we can find the switch through which we can illuminate the entire darkness, then it is better. So directly we can get the access to each and everything that is available in the room. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Antarashram Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.